think we need to leave the palm on. I think we're better off going with acorn. Hee. Ooh, nice.
I'll pay for that.
I will pay for that. Sotek hates my waifu? I do. If you like Elspeth, then I hate your waifu. And I also think your waifu choice is trash. You should be ashamed of yourself. There are so many better characters that you should be standing for. Elspeth is not one of them. You should be absolutely ashamed of yourself. If you need help selecting a better waifu, I will assist your road to recovery. You can do better. You can do better. Someone on Reddit was unironically advocating for an Elspeth DLC. I know, dude. That's why, honestly, I feel like we're probably going to get her. She has a lot of fans. A lot of people like Elspeth. And I hate that, but, you know, people are entitled to their opinions, even if they're stupid and wrong. For the record, that's the only thing I'm that harsh on. I think Elspeth versus Tarmakon is inevitable. Like to me, that is literally unavoidable. It's a horrible disease that I know I've contracted, and it's going to kill me in the long run. But there's no cure. Who is Elspeth? I don't want to, like, get into the really long rant, because I'd rather do something else with my day. But, Elspeth von Draken is essentially, she is a very, very, very powerful death wizard who rides on an extremely powerful Carmine dragon, which is a really big spooky dragon that has, like, a really overpowered breath attack, and also can use death magic. But she's not mortal. She is more like a spirit, essentially, which is kind of my issue with her, is that she's not really alive in a traditional sense. Because she's so powerful at death magic that she basically, like, she's kind of crossed the bridge from life to death, and is no longer fully there anymore. So, like, she's immortal, she doesn't age, and she has more in common with, like, a Banshee or a Cairn Wraith than she does with her fellow humans, which I think is dumb. I think that's really... I think that it's not a good character for the Empire, because she spits in the face of everything it is to be part of the Empire. For me, the best quality of the Empire is that they are they are normal humans like us, who through their ingenuity, piety, innovation, and willpower fight against impossible odds and terrifying monsters. What if they just made her a vampire? Well, that would be dumb too, because then she would be replacing better vampire characters. If you want a sexy vampire lady, you just do Neferata. Neferata is way cooler than Elspeth.
No, you don't. Anything I need. Feels sick.
Yeah, there's also Isabella, of course. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Living Legend. Yeah, there you go. That's what Elspeth is. There is something going on between Karl Franz and Emmanuel and the Electric Countess of Wizenland, but I can't remember what exactly their relationship is. I think they were like childhood friends or something.
Hey, you're Sotek already.
But there are spicy rumors, definitely, about Karl Franz and the ruler of Nuln.
Delicious. Oh, good. It's still fresh.
Dumbledude! Dude, the hype train is in full... The hype train is like
One Sotek coming right
full speed ahead. Doesn't Karl Franz have a son? He does.
up. Thank you. mate.
They are not on good terms, but he does have a son.
Try this way.
Dude, Karl Franz is gorgeous. I don't care what anybody says. You can be 100% straight and appreciate that Karl Franz. That's a man right there. the problem with Elspeth is not the character idea. It's that she's just too much. Like, she's literally so hilariously overpowered that she just kind of breaks the idea behind the Empire. To me, she feels much more like a Vampire Count character than a Empire character. She's just too much. Where does she fall on the power scale? Elspeth? Elspeth is easily one of the strongest things in the Empire. I mean, Elspeth von Draken is supposedly... well, from a rule... Like, Elspeth von Draken is... She's immortal, she doesn't age, and she can't die through conventional methods. She completely ignores all the power structures of society because she's still too strong. She rides easily the strongest creature in the Empire, being a Carmine Dragon, which is so powerful that it burps out purple suns, and it's also not a mount that the Empire is supposed to be able to use. Because the only dragon the Empire is supposed to have is the Imperial Dragon, which is supposed to be used by Karl Franz, even though he never rode it ever, because dragons just don't fit the motif of the Empire. She's also at least as strong, if not stronger, at casting than Balthazar Gelt is, except for she uses the Wind of Death, which is arguably one of the most powerful lores. It's certainly stronger than the Wind of Metal. And despite that, here's my thing, right? Okay, let me say this. The problem with Elspeth is that she was made by Forge World to be ludicrously powerful. And she was so ludicrously powerful that even though Games Workshop said that canonically the Tarmakon book happened, right? They said the Tarmakon book is canon. The invasion of Tarmakon happened, he invaded, he died. And all those heroes and characters are canonical entities in the Warhammer Fantasy universe. Here's the problem with Elspeth. Elspeth was so strong and she was so powerful that when Games Workshop made the End Times, they omitted her from it. Of all the characters in Tarmakon, she is the only character that never gets brought up again and never gets used again. And the reason is because she is so stupidly over the top that she literally breaks the balance of power. So Nuln was destroyed in the End Times by most of the Imperial cities. Nuln got wasted by Thanquol. Actually, not like most of the Imperial cities. But Nuln was destroyed during the Thanquol timeline because it was invaded by Thanquol at the height of his power, alongside Screech Vermin King, who's of course the strongest of the Vermin Lords. They did a full invasion of Nuln and destroyed it. Elspeth von Draken does not make an appearance. Even though she lives in the city of Nuln, it's the only city that will tolerate her. And if Elspeth had gotten involved in the defense of Nuln, she could have easily turned the tide. Because the fight for Nuln was pretty close. Like, even with Thanquol at the height of his power, riding on his big, badass new version of Bone Ripper, and Screech Vermin King, who is the most powerful greater demon of the Great Horned Rat in existence on the battlefield, Elspeth could have totally taken Screech Vermin King. She probably could have beat him, to be honest. And so Games Workshop looked at her and they were like, and you're not here. Like, you don't exist. You do not exist. They just pretended she didn't exist. Because she's basically a lich. She's not human. She's a lich. I hate her. She's dumb. She's a dumb character.
It's one of their dens.
Now, I will say this. If if Total War did decide to put Elspeth in the game, but they decided to tone her down a little bit, like they decided to fix her, so they made her not quite as powerful as Gelt, but like the most powerful death wizard, sure. Maybe the second most powerful wizard in the Empire, sure. You know, if she was like really, really strong, make her the Patriarch of the Death College, right? Make her the Patriarch of the Death College, and allow her to, don't give her a dragon. Give her, say, one of the two-headed griffins. Because the colleges of magic have access to these super badass two-headed griffins that are like specifically designed for the colleges of magic, and like utilized by them alone. Give her one of those. I think then she would be great. I think she would be a super cool character at that point. My issue with her is I don't want her to overwhelm Gelt. Like, Gelt needs to be above Elspeth von Draken, or they at least need to be kinda equal. But if you make her a super powerful Deathcaster, and you give her a supercharged dragon, and she still has, like, all these super crazy magic items and powers, she's too much. She's gotta be brought down.
Oh, yes.
Ooh! Ooh, 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 yeah. I apologize to anyone that really, really likes Elspeth. Like, there are things that I like that I hear other creators like just hating on. I'm not trying to like crump your style. If you like her, you like her, and that's totally okay. I just have issues with her design. It's not personal against you. She causes a lot of lore problems. Does the Empire have any monstrous mounts besides griffins and demigriffs? There is a single dragon, which is the Imperial Dragon, which Karl Franz can ride, but he never does for some reason. I mean, screw it. Give the Imperial Dragon to Elspeth. That'd be fine, honestly. If you want to give her the Imperial Dragon, just so her dragon isn't quite so OP, yeah, fine, whatever. Honestly, though, personally, I think it'd be kind of cool if the Imperial Dragon was like a Regiment of Renown. Yeah, the Imperial Dragon, the Imperial Dragon was actually raised in the Imperial Zoo. The Imperial Dragon was, it was brought to the Imperial Zoo as an egg. And it's lived its entire life there. Ow. I personally, I would not mind seeing the Imperial Dragon as a, I would not mind seeing it as a ROR that you could have if you're playing as an Empire faction. That would be a fine ROR that you could get at like level 30. That way there's only one and it doesn't like completely overbalance the game. Maybe it should be like campaign exclusive, so you can't use it in multiplayer. Because I feel like a dragon in multiplayer would kind of mess with the Empire's playstyle. But I could see it being like a ROR that you could get. Is it similar to the Sun Dragon? No, it's more akin to a Moon Dragon in power level. It's a very average dragon. It's not particularly amazing at anything. It's just kind of there.
All right, taking the shot.
In the name of Hades.
Oh, damn it. I could have gifted her ambrosia. Damn it. It's fine. It's fine, I'll just be mad. I was moving too quick. I should have taken my time with it.
Back I go.
Yeah, the Imperial Dragon's very weird. You have to remember, the thing about the Imperial Dragon is that the Imperial Dragon was introduced a really long time ago. So, like, from a lore standpoint, it should probably not be equivalent.
Don't spend it all in one place, mate.
It should... Ooh, lightning strikes twice. I kind of like... Oh, gosh. These are all really, really good. I only have one lightning bolt ability, though, which is my dash. Let's take Thunder Flourish. Then if we get lucky and we get that again, it'll be actually good.
Sata tunnels.
All right, Heretical Heretic, have a great night, dude. God, I hate satyrs. I hate satyrs. What would I think about Alcatazar being a legendary? No, let Alcatazar rest in peace. Alcatazar is one of those characters who's just not supposed to come back. He's kind of like a Narian. He is a character that was really, really important, and he kind of played his role, and then he was done. Like his story came to a really nice finality, and he should kind of be left alone. There are so many other characters. Plus, the thing about Alcatazar is literally just Cetra light. he was a less powerful Cetra, but he was basically Cetra. Actually, the sad thing about Alcatazar is that technically, from a lore standpoint, he actually did not get to rest peacefully. Alcatazar never got the burial rites that you need in order to go to the Nehekarn underworld properly. And his soul, like his soul was actually bound to the crown of Nagash. Because he basically, like, even in death, he was doing everything he could to, like, spite Nagash or contain him. And his soul was basically bound to the crown, which we saw in Master of Death. But his soul ends up basically getting, like, forcefully dominated and ripped out of it by Wazoran. Which is what allows Ushoran to put it on. And then Ushoran puts it on, and Nagash kinda takes over his mind, and bad things happen. But yeah, Alcatazar was never able to get, like, a peaceful death. Unfortunately, he was kind of eternally punished, in a sense, for standing out against Nagash. But, you know, it's not always easy being a hero, right?
Pleasure doing business. Thunder and lightning.
Bad things happen to heroes, but that's what makes them heroes.
Cerberus again accepts the sack.
What's a good faction / lord to start learning Total War Warhammer 2 with? Where's that question? Rorashan, if you're playing single player, I think the best faction to start learning the game with is either the High Elves or the Lizardmen. If you're playing Mortal Empires and you own all the factions, dwarves can be pretty safe because there's less for you to micromanage because they don't have cav. So you can kind of get used to focusing on using like ranged units and infantry, and then like the flying stuff, and war machines. But lizardmen are a very friendly starter faction. So are high elves. High elves have like a really strong economy. But for Vortex, I would play high elves on Vortex. Mortal Empire's high elves are a little harder. Dark elves are pretty okay. Yeah, orcs are not the easiest because greenskins require you to be pretty aggressive. Which if you're playing the game for the first time can be kind of hard and punishing. So I would probably advise going with probably going with the lizardmen or the dwarves if it's your first Total War game.
Thank you, boy.
Never played Total War Warhammer 1 though? You're not missing anything. If you ever play the Mortal Empires, that's Total War Warhammer 1, literally. Mortal Empires and Total War Warhammer 1 are the exact same. There's just a bigger map.
The heavens and the seas belong to my brothers. But know that you are still in my domain.
Living Legend, I think it depends on how you play. I would still argue that although I respect Zerkovich's opinion, I disagree. I think dwarves are still a really good, friendly starter faction because they're defensively minded. Like, yes, you can just sit in a box, but honestly, if you're playing, at least in my experience, the AI is not so stupid that it'll just run into a box. Like, the AI will actually try and mess with boxes, so you do need to learn to, like, maneuver your guys, make sure you're covering your flanks, make sure your ranged units aren't getting messed up. You learn, oh, if I'm playing with a cannon, I need to have it on higher ground, or I need to have it far enough back so I don't shoot my own guys. If I'm using Thunderers or Iron Drakes, they need to have a gap so that they can, like, shoot into combat. Like, it's still a valuable skill set if you're brand new to the game. I do agree with Zerkovich that if you're learning to play multiplayer, I think if you're learning to play multiplayer, you should not start with dwarves, because it's going to teach you bad habits. But I think for single player, dwarves are fine. For people absolutely brand new to Total War. But that's just my opinion.
Hurry up.
Darkness.
Picked up their scent.
That blasted.
Wow,
To think you're so receptive.
I got
to
like
the thought
50
of-
damage out of that.
And we finally have an activity we can do together.
Ah, yes, indeed. Darkness. Where, boy? Darkness. Useless.
I have him in my sights.
Artemis. Nice.
Got you.
Yeah, dude, Gorok. Gorok is super friendly for new players. Gorok is easily one of the easiest and strongest starts in the game.
Enough of you.
Oh yeah, I forgot my Festive Fog does lightning. Come here, Dad.
Optimus!
Nowhere to hide from me.
Blast you.
You fall.
Optimus!
And it's over.
Firing.
How? For students of Achilles, I fear that you surpassed even his skill by now.
Yeah, if you're gonna play Krokgar, you definitely want to do Vortex, because if you play Mortal Empires, you have to worry about the ocean to his east, which is really spooky.
Fought.
Oh, Nakai? Oh, dude, Nakai is really rough. Nakai is, he's... I'm just gonna put it frank, Nakai is poorly designed. He is a really broken character right now, where his campaign needs some fine-tuning, and he is... you will hate yourself if you start with that campaign.
Despite having transcended past the confines of the underworld yet again, Prince Zagreus proves utterly unable to get past this point.
No.
I've not heard good things about most of the Horde factions. Is it just not well implemented?
I did it.
I'm going to be honest with you about that. I think that a lot of the people who play Total War just don't jive with Hordes. I personally think that some of the Horde factions are fun to play. I think Beastmen are fun. I think Warriors of Chaos are fun. They could be a little... They're certainly difficult. But their enjoyment kind of has to do with the fact that you can just kind of go wherever you want. However, a lot of people hate them. A lot of people hate them because they don't give you a lot of options, and they have a lot of not friendly implementation where if you make mistakes, you get punished really hard, and that does need to be addressed. But I think the hatred for Hordes is a little... I think it's really overstated. I think the people who bitch the loudest about Hordes tend to just not understand how to play them. That being said, they are a little outdated, and they do need some fixing. But they're fun. Norska's fun to play. Norska is not a typical Horde. Norska is like a pseudo-Horde. Norska has the ability to take naval settlements, and they have the ability to take Norscan settlements, and they have the ability to take capitals, like racial capitals. And you actually get like really cool bonuses if you take a racial capital. So I would actually say that Norska is very fun. It's very basic. Like the monster hunting mechanic is probably the most exciting thing about Norska and their tech tree. Their actual characters and stuff are really, really basic. Norska needs an update pretty badly, but it is fun to play.
You'll get him next time, right?
That being said, I would never recommend somebody to learn the game by playing a Horde. Playing a Horde,
Achilles might be in Elysium, I guess.
if that's your first time playing the game, you're gonna have a hard time.
Oh, Prince, I heard the news about Master Achilles. That's so great. I'm going to miss him being here as often as he used to, but I'm just so happy for him and for you.
Me too, Dusa. The happy for him part at any rate. He's a good friend, and he deserved much better than to be stuck here.
Yeah, well, I would argue I don't mind the AI invading Norska. My problem is that Hellebron invades Norska. Hellebron invading Norska is dumb as shit. I hate it. It's dumb. Like it's manufactured difficulty for a campaign that's already really hard. Hellebron should be one of your allies, or you should at least have some kind of choice where like Hellebron's like, hey, join up with me to invade the High Elves, and you can either tell her, you know, screw you, in which case she does fight you, or you could say, yeah, let's team up on the High Elves, and then you fight together.
I was looking all over